I love that for you. You have that hope, baby.
You say unicorns are real.
I know, you right. And they can be in our minds.
That's my unicorn.
Right, okay. Hey guys, welcome to our channel where unicorns are real. My name is Jasmine.
I'm Mari.
Yes, and we are here to get into some things, honey. Now, if you have been on this channel already before, then you know that, well, actually, you haven't seen my face. I've been doing commentary videos on here. But, you know, I thought it was time to kind of revamp.
Yes.
And get into the things. And who better to do it with than my sister, one of my bestest besties ever, Mari. And I'm just really excited to do this with you first and foremost.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get into some things, y'all. We all know that a lot of us, not all of us, we're going to talk about y'all too, but most of us are feeling down.
Yes.
We're very sad about, you know, the political climate and the election results and things like that. And I don't know, I think we need an outlet to kind of make sense of things.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. So, we are going to talk about it. And, you know, definitely chime in down below. We want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions because they matter.
Suggestions.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So the first thing I guess, you know, we want to bring up is what are like our initial raw thoughts on the presidential results?
Flabbergasted. I was just like, we're here again. Like,
yeah.
The fact that he got that far with 34 felonies, like, I can't.
Speak up for the people in the back. How many felonies?
34 felonies.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can't even get a regular job in the real world with one felony. So 34, and you can be president of the United States, apparently. So the fact that we are here, regardless of his platform, just amazed me. And just, yeah, that we're here again. The fact that so many people ignored, made excuses, and totally rewrote history of his first term.
We're going to get into that.
For us to say, okay, we're going to do that again.
Times two.
I was heartbroken, very sad, and quite frankly, very afraid because of the climate that he invokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. I definitely also feel or felt initially very sad. I was sad. I didn't cry because I think I knew deep down that he was going to win.
Yeah.
But I definitely was sad. And then I got mad.
Yeah.
I got angry. And I wanted to just activate. I wanted to, I don't know, just do something. I wanted to cause a ruckus of some sort. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who to reach out. But I was just so angry. And then I felt that it was time to give people some real talk, accompanied with some hope, but mostly some real talk about a lot of things. Because there are, I'm sure, many reasons, which we'll get into, why people voted the way they voted. But one thing is for sure, and two things for certain, Trump is supposed to be all of our president. So we have to deal with it. We have to get through these 4 years. And it does look bleak and it's very sad and disheartening, but we're going to get through it.
And before his supporters jump on here and say, well, oh, well, deal with it. And, oh, well, I'm going to bring up some of your guys' commentary and your guys' reaction storming the Capitol when Biden was elected. So let's take out of the equation that we're not allowed to feel some type of way because everybody does. So this is just our platform to speak on it.
Pump your brakes. What she said. So let's take a look and talk about the voting chart that shows some demographics. I think it's good to have context around this, right?
Yes.
Because we all know people that have voted opposite of us. It could be family, friends, whatever,
Yes.
right? But to see it in totality, to really see a bigger picture of what that looked like, it blew my mind. So let me pull that up here. Of course, I'll have it up on the screen for you guys. All right. So let me just start by saying that, and you guys see it as well, I want to thank Black women who voted for Kamala at an outstanding 92%. Now, I don't know if those numbers are less now or more, but I know damn well they were still majority. So thank you, Black women, first and foremost.
Yes.
I mean, what do you see when you see this chart, girl? Because I'm like, what happened?
Well,
What happened?
Well, you already know I'm gonna look at my peoples.
Right.
I'm gonna look at my peoples. I'm gonna look at the Latinx community, and after everything that was done the first time with the separation of families, so in the Latinx community, I mean, aside from the separation of families, the mass deportation, everything he did the first time around, to all his comments this time around, and we still, more than half of our Latinas voted for him, and almost half of our Latinos voted for him. So that's depressing. However, we already know within we already know within our culture how the racism exists.
Oh, honey.
And I know we're going to speak on that too. So I understand, but I don't understand. I know where it's coming from, but I still don't get it. However, for the people who were like, oh, that's why, Kamala lost. No, because we still only make Kamala. That's why.
It's Kamala.
Kamala.
Yes, baby, Kamala. It's okay. Look, people are allowed to make mistakes, so watch your mouth. Go ahead, babe.
I pronounce a lot of things wrong.
It's okay. I say it in love.
The reason why we lost was because of the Latinx vote. We're only 6-7% of the vote, so we're not the reason why. I made a post on this on Facebook, lost a couple of Facebook friends. A family member was like, hey, why did you post this? Why does it have to be about race? The post wasn't about race. It was a response to race, a response to them saying who was at fault. No, we live in America where the majority is white, and the majority of people who vote are white. So regardless of whether win or lose, it's always going to be the majority of the white people who voted. So that's pretty much where we're at with that. But it's still disheartening that half of our people still voted for him. Whether you consider yourself white, Afro-Latino or not, what does he stand for? And how is that benefiting you? He's not representing you. He's not worried about you. So the fact that we're still there, stuck in that mindset.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes, Black women stood up and represented, and that made me very, very, very
Period.
proud.
But you make a good point, and I want to stay on us. I want to stay on our mi gente real quick. We're gonna stay on your asses. I heard this little clip from now look, let me be very clear. Very clear. I don't watch no goddamn regular schmegular news. And it ain't because Trump for many years started saying the fake news and making us turn on our own people and media. Which, by the way, it happens in fascist societies. Let me just also say that. Yes. Dictatorships. But anyway, my point is, I don't watch MSNBC or any of the CNN or that. However, there was a clip that speaks exactly what Madi's saying, and I think it is something that we should watch really quick.
I think what we learned is that a lot of Latinos resonated with that us versus them language and game that Donald Trump played, right? I think the reality is, and I think that's what the polls were showing, right, that there was a significant amount of Latinos that simply weren't resonating with that anti-immigrant message. They didn't really see themselves as part of that them language. They weren't insulted by that language. You can explain that by many different ways. One of them is simply the fact that a lot of Latinos are simply more Americanized now. They're more assimilated. The majority of us are now US born. The majority of us speak English. We're under 50. And so that's one way to sort of understand that. Then I think there's the real elements of the very real disillusionments. I mean, I've even been in places like Nevada and Arizona. I've talked to dreamers. I've talked to undocumented immigrants that have been in this country for over 20 years. And there is a sense of resentment that the Democratic Party has yet to fulfill their promise, that to really promise and give them that comprehensive immigration reform. And so in those conversations, you start to feel some resentment using the same language that Trumpism uses, which is they are cutting the line. They are coming in. They're stealing something from me. I think that also resonated.
1,000%, 1,002%. And it's just crazy because, you know, I don't want to always point the finger because I do think as a whole, it's just, why did I say as a whole like that? I don't even know. But the point is this. This is the point. Regardless of all of that, what do y'all think is really going to happen? Do y'all think that they're going to start differentiating whether or not you are a good, you know, documented person or a bad one? No, baby. Y'all all going. Y'all all going here. And with all the immunity and unbalanced checks and unbalanced things, he's going to be able to bypass a lot of these things that normally would be like, hold on, wait a minute now. We got a little regulation for that. Hold on. So I'm just not understanding the cognitive dissonance. It's not connecting.
I mean, I understand. I've lived through Reagan, both Bushes. This is not my issue with this election is, and people like to gaslight it and whitewash it saying, oh, it's a Republican versus Democrat. It is not. It is a Trump thing. I'm going to be honest, for me anyway. I can respect a need for immigration reform, not brown people immigration reform, all immigration reform. I'm from New York, where my best friend is Italian. My first boyfriend was from Afghanistan. Like, I'm from a melting pot. So I used to immigrants from all over the country. And Trump doesn't speak on that. He points out the immigrants of a brown persuasion. And that's my issue with that. That's where he is inciting this fear that the face of immigration are the Haitians that he just recently spoke about, the Mexicans that he spoke about. That's who he's targeting, and that's who he's attacking, and that's where my dislike and fear is coming from on who he's targeting. I am not against an immigration reform. I understand what it does to the economy. That's not the issue. That's not what he's speaking about. He is targeting a certain demographic.
And we're going to talk about rhetoric versus policy. We're going to touch on that. But I have one more point in this demographic chart. Just one more. Just a little one. Can we talk about the overwhelming white men who voted for Trump and just men in general?
Well, the way I see it, that's what Trump is bringing back. The Constitution was originally written for white land-owning men. And that's when Trump says, make America great again, that's who he's talking to.
Right.
How many times have I heard people say, oh, why can't it be like the good old days back in the 50s? The 50s were good for who? Who were the 50s good for? So when we say make America great and look at the people who were supporting that, that speaks for itself. And how would that resonate with me? Don't say we're all American. Don't say I don't understand what race has to do with anything, because every time I fill out a job application, a school form, a doctor's form, it always asks for my race. It doesn't say whether you're American or an immigrant. It asks for my race. So everything about America is about race.
Wow.
And every politician addresses demographics of a different cultural background. So it is about race. Let's not lie to each other and say that it's not. Let's celebrate the differences, which is what we're supposed to be doing, instead of ignoring it and saying stop making it about race, especially when the people who normally are saying that are the people who are not being biased against.
Talk about it. She just did. Okay, so let's switch gears here because, you know, we could talk all day about the overwhelming white men and men in general, but I want to talk about us really quick here, right? Like, what motivated you to vote the most? Like, what was the biggest, I guess, I hate saying issue, right? But what was the biggest issue for you during this presidential election?
So, and I've spoke about this on Facebook as well. I remember what it was the first time, and people are lying and saying this didn't happen and this was this and this was that. First of all, I'm not sold with any politician. I'm not sold on any politician, right? To be quite frank, and people are going to fry me for this, you said Kamala. Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on her. She was just better than Trump. I'm fully aware of her background, and I was very disappointed when she was appointed vice president this past term.
Why?
Because
wait a minute now. Why?
Because of different prison reform policies that she went. Yes.
No.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with me, but that's my reason.
No, honey, I'm not saying I agree or don't agree. I'm saying what you're saying is incorrect. This is not an opinion-based thing. You're saying like it's a fact that she put, because I know what the talk is, right? And it's not just you specifically. The talk was that she incarcerated all these black men and did all of these things. No, but that's how they started, though. They talk about that. And so my point is this. I watched her actual videos because they are online. Y'all could literally Google it on YouTube. I know what you're talking about,
but that's not what I'm
talking
about.
She fought for us for a lot of things that y'all say y'all care about. And y'all did her dirty. Y'all did her dirty! Anyway, sorry, go ahead. I just don't agree with that because that's not a fact.
Okay, but that's not what I was referring to anyway.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
And two, I didn't think she was the best candidate.
Okay. And that's okay.
She was better than Trump. I wasn't thrilled with her.
Right.
So that wasn't what drove me to vote. It was before her.
Gotcha.
It was remembering what people want to forget about Trump, about the economy, about all of his pushing everybody's buttons and how he handled crisis and natural disasters and pandemics. And I remember. And like I said on Facebook, unless you live on my side of the tracks and you felt it, you're not going to understand. It's easy for you to say, no, that happened during Biden. No, it didn't. And I'll be happy to bring up the unemployment records as far as everybody who filed and never got paid during Trump's presidency because we didn't have the money because everything was mismanaged. I didn't want to go through that again. And the promises, every time he opens his mouth, when he's speaking to Christian groups and he says, Christians, I want you to come out and vote because I promise you, you'll never have to vote again. He says
what you mean by that, Trump?
Dangerous
what you mean?
Statements that are jeopardizing our democracy.
Period.
That's what I mean by it's not Republicans versus
and y'all want to
Democrats,
overthrow our government so bad that y'all are willing to just
that part.
Girl.
Now, if he was just a regular Republican that was keeping it to the, I can respect that. I don't have to agree. I can respect how people of different backgrounds don't understand that. Like there are other parts of the country that are not as progressive as we are up north, so we don't see eye to eye. That's been since the Civil War, obviously. So I can respect that. With Trump, it's a whole different beast, and that's why I voted. I really wanted to prevent that his first term from happening again. Times 10.
Yeah.
Which is what he promised, because he's coming in with a vendetta and a vengeance against losing this last term.
Right.
So what was your reason?
I love that. I would say for me, I wasn't sold on Kamala until her first like big rally. I forget where it was at. And no, that doesn't mean I didn't really care or watch it, because I did. But it was the one right when she got all the delegates to confirm that, yes, she was the nominee, right? Because everything happened really quick.
Yeah, it did.
The way she spoke, it made me want to look at her record. I felt like I was seeing something inspiring, like a movement that was like, oh, okay, this is like groundwork. Now, granted, she didn't have a lot of time, right? There wasn't a lot of thing, and I get it. Like, a lot of people didn't see what I did. A lot of people aren't going to go research as much because they want to see what she's going to do. They want to see what she cares about before they go and say, well, let me invest my time and really figure out if I really like her or not. If she's not saying no ideas that nobody likes about, for the most part, they're not going to care. So I do get that. And that's why I knew she wasn't going to win. Let's be very clear. I also felt like she said something about Gaza a little too late. So she said it like the 2 weeks before, and she said it at an all-black barbershop that she went to. I'm like, that's not the people that were begging you to say something about Gaza. Like, girl, like, what is you doing? So, and I don't blame her. I blame her campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I voted for her because I thought we were going to have this movement, this thing that was inspirational. And it was like, oh, wow, let's fight. Let's do it. Sort of like Barack, right? Yeah. That was my first time voting, right? Yeah. And so even though I lived through Clinton, I didn't vote for him. So seeing Barack and how he cultivated something very new, and he was new and fresh, the first black president. So it's just one of those things where I thought we were... I wanted to be a part of something that I thought was inspiring and moving and would be beneficial to all of us. Because I'm an independent, but the reason why I would vote more Dem, or at least left-leaning, is because I know that the things that the left talks about... I know some of them things can be outrageous to you guys, and I know you might not understand a lot of things like transgenderism and things like that, which we'll touch on, whatever. But for the most part, it's not negatively impacting anybody. But things on the right, they do. They either are using rhetoric that marginalizes people, or they're passing bills that do that. So it's like, I had to pick a lane. It's like, okay, well, if I'm who I am, and my family is all, sorts of colors and creeds and all that stuff, I need to protect all of us.
That part.
So that was my motivation.
And let me say this: when I say I wasn't crazy about her, that's sort of implying that I was ever crazy about politicians, right? I think the only politician I was ever crazy about was Barack, right? So that's not. It's not a knock to her saying I wasn't crazy about her, because that was just my initial. Yeah, but just like you said, as she went on and what she does since she's been here and what she's ignited, and I too felt like this would be a movement. So yes, I did feel that way. I just wanted to put it out there that in the beginning, when I was talking about the choices, I wasn't crazy.
You wouldn't have picked her. There was probably somebody else that was, maybe you would have been like, oh, let's look at that person. Let's see what they're about. And you would not,
Yes and no. Because for, like you said, everything happened really quick for this term. So, no, it was like, I wasn't crazy. I think I was disappointed that we didn't have someone that was just like, wow. And I don't think that's her fault.
A lot of people felt that way too.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's her fault in this.
They said, we didn't choose her. Y'all did.
Right.
I got it. Yeah. I feel that.
I kind of felt like with this whole campaign with the Democrats, we needed to run away from the formula. Everybody knew Biden was going to run for a second term. So everybody, the Republicans already 8 years had a 8-year lead on how to beat him, because we keep going with
that man ain't never stopped doing rallies, honey. That man ain't never stopped with his commercials. That man ain't never stopped. When I tell you the aggression, that you're right. You are 1,000% right. When I think of it that way, and you do pose it that way, and I've had those thoughts too, I agree. I agree 1,000%. I agree 1,000%, 10 toes down, because
So we don't really get to say who's going to run.
No, for sure. And I think that also plays in what you're saying, why I knew she wasn't going to win.
Right.
I just knew it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm with you, mamas, because I know you've been fighting for us behind the scenes, and now I would love you to, to see what you could do as president. But yeah, mamas, this ain't your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Now, the other side, and I hate to say the other side, but it is the other side technically, because when we talk about why we vote blue for the most part is because it's more inclusive, right? So the other side is unfortunately less inclusive. So why do we believe they were motivated to vote and put Trump back in office?
From what I hear, they keep saying, and I don't understand, but they keep saying the economy. They keep saying the economy. I know his first term, one of my son's uncles would keep debating me about the military, that, oh, I know me being in the military and I haven't had as much benefits or whatever since, prior to Trump being in the office, and listen to the things he says about the military now. So I don't get it. I hear things like military. I hear things like the economy. However, to me, he hasn't said or shown anything that supports why they're voting for him.
Exactly.
So that's what I hear they're saying, but I haven't seen the proof of that.
Can we talk about that though?
Can we talk about it?
Right, because you are right, and I agree with that, because that is, I think, they say, and I'm gonna be very clear. That's what they say why they voted for him.
Yes.
I don't think that's the number one reason, but y'all can think and say what y'all want. I know I'm biased. I'm trans, and I'm also Latina, and I know that I'm a woman, right? A trans woman. So I have boxes that I check, and so the way I see and view the world, or how the world views me, comes from totally different sides, And you have a lot of intersectional. I've been drinking intersectionality. Sorry. So let's talk about that, right? So that is something that they've been saying. The economy, he gonna lower the gas. He gonna make the eggs $3. Well, no, it's $3 now. He gonna make it $1.50. Where the eggs at $1.50, girl? I'm gonna get my brown eggs for $2. Like, girl, do you not know how that all works? Do you not know that the simple fact that he is promoting higher tariffs and more of them?
So I know if I were to open a bodega,
Okay, talk about it.
Trump can't tell me how much I'm going to charge.
Oh, you're going to the private sector. Go ahead, tell him.
So no. So the price of eggs and the price of milk isn't going to change.
That's what they want it to be.
It's because of supply and demand.
I'm going to tell you what they really need to do, because
Now let's help the farmers.
Oh,
now let's
1,000%.
invest in that.
1,000%.
And then we'll see how much produce and healthy food versus the trash food, and how that's going to, let's talk. If you really want to help the economy,
period,
let's bring it back here.
But baby, you talk about farmers, but who's on them farms? Who is mostly on them farms?
Mi gente, come on now.
Wait, pump it. Who's mostly on them farms, Marty?
Go to Bridgeton and see who you see picking the green beans and everything right now.
Are you about to be picking in the fields so that we can have lower groceries? Because I promise you, if you're not going to be, that means either machines are going to do it, or they're going to have less workers, which means groceries are even higher.
So for my people down in
what?
Lower Delaware,
Y'all don't think.
For all my supporters in Lower Delaware who keep saying the migrants are taking, the immigrants are taking our jobs. In Sussex, who's working the fields? Not y'all. Y'all ain't taking those jobs.
Y'all know who it is.
Y'all aren't taking those jobs.
Don't be quiet.
I know who's working.
Come to the front. We won't jump you. Come to the
those
front.
fields.
Come to the front. Come outside. We're not going to jump you.
So exactly what jobs are they taking?
Could it be those black and brown jobs that y'all don't want? Could it be the black and brown jobs?
Might be.
Now, before we move on from the groceries and the economy that everybody tries to say to hide what they really voted for,
Talk about it.
they want to talk about the economy and things like that. because Marty hit on something very, very important. When you're actually talking about these grocery stores, because we all know that it's not just regular grocery stores that are selling groceries, right? You have Whole Foods, you have Walmart, there's other places, right, that also sell groceries. These are privately owned businesses and corporations. They are high. She said it, and she's right. They're high because they want them to be high. And mostly it's because they want to stay rich, but also because the actual living cost. The living cost is so high, and it's not been capped. That's one of the things that Kamala was fighting for, but hopefully she'll still put it through, or somebody will have that idea as well, and hopefully it comes around Trump's desk. I'm trying to be hopeful, but it is high. It's high. The cost of living is high, and when the cost of living is that high, you'll have to understand that the people that owns that bodega, they need to eat and pay their rent.
The cost of their supplies have gone up.
Hello?
So I don't know how many items in your house you have. Look at every candle, look at every light bulb. It doesn't all say made in America. So you said a word a minute ago, the tariffs.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that he ran on, the tariffs.
He don't know nothing about it.
That's going to increase your cost of living, your daily cost of living. Now, I know it's already high. I know as a previous property manager how the qualifications. See,
you've been in the trenches.
Look.
And you worked in the trenches.
I know at a certain point we feel racism, but when it gets to a different level and Trump's level, it is classism. Okay, I always as long as you've known me, I always preach this.
No, you always
It is always about keep the poor poor and the rich rich. That's why we have the
most of our music
that's
is like
why
that.
We have the politicians in people's pockets, and that's why we have Puerto Rico with its issues with their government and everything else. So the value of $1 is set. There's only a certain number of bills in circulation at a time. That's what keeps its value. As much money as we print,
and y'all know why y'all forget,
as we burn.
Because y'all too busy trying to say, Trump, get in the office, and he gonna make sure that y'all never remember, because he gonna cut that economics class, honey. If y'all still have it in y'all school, which most of y'all don't, but if y'all do, they're gonna cut that, and then you really not gonna know what she's talking about.
So there's only a certain amount of money in circulation at a time, right? So how can we all get a piece of the pie? You can't print more money or else the value of the dollar goes down, and it's the same thing. Here goes the Great Depression all over again, right? We're eating potatoes. Big business has taken over everything from colleges. I know from when my oldest was in college to now my third youngest in school, and just in that short amount of time, the qualifications, to apply for financial aid, to become a dependent versus independent student, the financial obligation from parents to prevent you from getting financial aid, and just how much money the schools can charge you versus how much you make. There's not one set amount. You pay different amounts based on whether you apply for a loan or not.
That's crazy as hell.
So that prevents people from our neighborhoods to getting a piece of that pie, to getting our degree, to getting those. But
y'all don't hear her though.
Okay, so let's go back to COVID, right? So COVID happened and there was a shutdown. Everybody was sent home. I was working from home since before COVID, right? But all of a sudden that was the new thing. Everybody had to work from home. So companies decided, hey, we can cut our overhead costs. And since we had to kick out money for these computers and have everybody working from home, let's just do that and have smaller offices. Well, now they decided to maximize on that amount. Well, since you're working from home and everybody wants to work from home, that's the new thing. Everybody's looking for a job to work from home now. We don't have to pay you as much.
Right.
We don't pay you. So now the amount of pay that you get for the same job just 2 years ago is $2 to $3 less. Look on Indeed and look it up. $2 to $3 less. How did the pay go down, but the cost of living go up, and the qualifications to get your own place? So the average price for a 2-bedroom is about $1,500.
Girl, that's the starting price.
But the qualifications, you have to make 3 times that amount.
Yes.
So 3 times that amount is $4,500. Who's making that? Who's making $4,500 a month?
When your average yearly income is around $37,000, and now I'm not saying this might not be you, honey. You might be making $50,000, but it still doesn't mean you're not
Let's talk about the
affected.
majority of people. The majority of people, and here in Delaware, when these jobs are now only $16 to $17 an hour, who's going to qualify for that? That's classism. And then you want to talk about homelessness. Then you want to talk about the people draining. Those aren't the immigrants.
Period.
Those aren't immigrants who's in subsidized housing and who's getting food stamps and who's getting a check. It's the people who can't afford to live, basically. Lack of affordable housing. They increase the qualifications. How can you buy a house if you can barely even qualify to rent an apartment? No, it's ridiculous.
Now that brings us to my next point.
And you think Trump's going to change that?
They do, but this is what I'm saying.
Let's see.
But this goes into that. So y'all think Trump gonna change that so hard? Y'all really think that he's gonna change that so much?
He's not worried about the middle class.
Because
those corporations that you were talking about, those are his friends.
That part. But it's because I think their messaging is so freaking strong. And it's been nonstop since Trump was in office back in 2016. Yeah. It has been nonstop. I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is, hear me when I say this, the left has not been that aggressive or effective. Okay? We've been asleep. Okay? Y'all want to call us all woke, which isn't a bad thing. But that's a topic for another video.
That's that fake news where you try to change the definition of that because of fear. Right.
So they tack on, the things that they're fear-mongering you with and saying that's under the woke umbrella. Nah, bitch, it ain't. But that's fine. I'd rather be woke than asleep because y'all sleeping. But yeah, my point is the messaging was so effective. I believe that the left's messaging and the Dems really have been so ineffective and just not as aggressive as we need it to be. And I'm not talking about things about trans rights, and I'm not talking about things about even like his rhetoric and tearing down Trump, because none of that has worked. Have we not learned? Have we not learned that that's not working, honey?
No.
Go back to the drawing board. Go see what Trump and them is doing, because they effective. Okay? Again, not saying it's right or wrong, just pointing the facts out. And so I think the left and the Dems, they need to be more effective and they need to start now. They need to start now. Use that daggone money that y'all made and start now. I know there's rules and regulations about the money, but let's be real. Like, y'all can raise some more money. Stop playing. Y'all only want to raise money when it's convenient. No, raise the money now and put these commercials out, because that's what he's doing. Now, the last thing about this is what I think motivated most folks is truly the efforts to make this nation a Christian nation. So I'm talking about Christian nationalists specifically. So I'm going to be very, very clear. I'm talking about Christian nationalists. There are many
Trump
states
he's not Christian.
that are right, but y'all missed that.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
There have been many states that are already having mandatory Bible reads. I believe Oklahoma's one of them. Y'all can go look it up. You hear what I'm saying? Go look it up. I'm not going to be Google. I'm not Google. I'm going to do what I can, but I'm not Google. Go look it up. There's already states that are doing these things to make us a Christian national, what was I trying to say? What was the term? To make this country, the standard is Christian nationalism. And they're trying to blur the lines of separation of church and state.
That part.
And they keep using things like, oh, but it says on the money in God we trust. And,
Yeah, but
oh,
who printed that?
And when in the 50s. And then it also said, oh, but the Pledge of Allegiance, it says under
That's
God.
why we don't say it anymore.
It was in the
schools.
50s.
And that's why we don't say it because that's
Who was in
indoctrination.
office in the 50s?
Yeah.
Who was in office? Y'all want to say, oh, the money says in God we trust, and oh, the Pledge of Allegiance is saying, oh, a one nation under God. That was not implemented until the 50s under Eisenhower. So miss me with the BS.
Yeah.
Trying to make excuses essentially about why we should be heading that way.
Mind you, also in the 50s, listen, no, go off on a tangent. Isn't that when it was illegal for Puerto Ricans to fly their original flag?
I forgot all about that extra detail in the 50s. So my point is this. I think that was a huge motivation because I think that when it comes to being too far left or being woke, to combat that and those ideas, whatever they are, they bring in Christian nationalism. Because the Bible's telling you don't do this and you can't be that. But anyway, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
This is the thing about that. This is not I'm Christian. So this is not about, but I know my place and I know where I'm never going to, we can go on. I can preach to you if you want about how Jesus Christ sat with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and how he didn't push preaching on to anyone. He sat and preached to those who came to him. Therefore, it is not for us to push our ideals onto anyone else. If you truly are a Christian, God gave us free will. You cannot take away somebody else's will and make them fall under Christianity if they don't choose to, just because we live in America. That's not that we are supposed to be the land of the free, the home of the brave, with non-judgment to your sex, religion, race, creed. That's who we are supposed to be. So to force everyone to live under Christianity, I think, first of all, is not what the Bible says, nor is it what makes America America. And I don't think it's fair to force people to do what you believe in. Who's to say? I mean, I'm not a great follower of the Christian church and historically what it has done in the name of God to many cultures of people.
It's not just in the name of God. The Bible condones it as well, though.
Yeah.
The Bible condones slavery, and people try to say, no, that's indentured slavery. No, it actually tells you who can be enslaved, how to treat them, how to beat them, how to enslave all their children and their wives. But that's another topic.
But the Bible's not the only book that does that.
Oh no, 100%. But all those
No, so I agree.
100%.
The Bible's not so that, but that's sort of what I would say. So it's not to say one religion is better than the other, and it's not to say that your God is not the same God, just called something different. So it's religion is a system of beliefs, and it is unfair to you to enforce your belief on someone else just because you think you're right. What if you're wrong? That's a whole nother conversation, but that's not even, the point is, that's not what makes America America. And if you are a Christian, that's not what the Bible says for you to do. So I don't understand why people call themselves Christian and say we all have to be. That's not, it's an oxymoron. I don't understand that. I understand wanting to have a Christian president, just like I was happy when we had Obama as a president. You want someone that you can relate to, and that's great. There is nothing wrong with that being your reason to vote for, but
there is.
No. No,
There is. I'm sorry, I have to push back, baby.
You're not even. Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong with that being the reason why you liked him.
Okay, why you liked him, not why you voted. Okay.
Oh, well, why you voted for? If you voted for him because you relate to him,
that's a problem to me.
And it can be a problem to you, but
because you're being selfish.
But aren't we all?
No.
When you vote,
you should be voting to help the most people. Punto. That's it. Like you should be voting to help the most
That's your preference.
people. No, that is my opinion. Yes, that would be an opinion.
That's your preference and your opinion.
But the reason,
and other people have other opinions.
But why wouldn't you have an opinion that would help the most amount of people?
Because some people just don't. I'm not saying that's my opinion.
No, I know.
I'm just saying that's if someone says I'm voting for, and they can.
Sorry.
If they say, and that's okay. What I'm saying is you can have whatever reason you want to have to vote for him. Some people are voting for him just because he says racist stuff.
Yes, for sure.
So that's not my point. My point is if that's why you voted for him, you can have whatever reason why you vote for him. But it is not, what is not right is for you to have your president impose that religion on everybody else. That's not right. If I
well said.
I can have whatever reason that I had, like, give me something else that a Democrat would do. Like, it's not like you can't make somebody a different race, but
right. But no, I
like
agree.
whatever reason why you relate to them is whatever reason why you voted for, and you feel they're going to be a great president. That's great, but you cannot impose your system of beliefs on the country.
That's my thing, though, too. I agree with that, but to me, that's not their motivation. They did it because he says he's a Christian, and they want Christian nationalism in our country. You can't do that. What happens to the Muslim kid that's in the damn?
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
You can say I like him because he's Christian and he's God fearing,
but there should be no law.
But you can't say. Right. So now we're going to force every child in school to pray.
Right.
That's the difference.
That's a problem.
That's the difference.
That's a problem.
You can like whoever you want to like for whatever reason.
Okay.
But you can't impose your system of beliefs on another person.
I like that. And I agree, I don't be trying to jump the gun, y'all. It's just, we're not always going to agree to every little thing. Like Madi said, she identifies as a Christian. She practices Christian faiths and beliefs. I grew up Christian. I do believe in a higher power. But because there's no proof of that, I don't go out here telling people what to do. I don't go out here telling them to do this. There ain't no proof. I could be wrong. Like she was saying, just overall. I'm not saying that's what she said.
And we've been friends for how many years? And how many times have I tried to impose my system of beliefs on you?
Yeah, not once.
That's a personal relation between me and mine. And mind you, when I say Christian, I don't follow. I'm not in church.
I thought you went to church.
I take is doing his thing, and I'm letting people.
No comment. No. We're gonna do an episode at another time about religion.
When was the last time I say I take? And this is why I word it that way.
I misunderstood my bad.
No, I say I take to church.
Yes, you smell so good. By the way,
thank you. And I don't mean to. I try not to put my kids' names out there, but I said I take to church because
she takes her son to church. I
respect what they do and what they want, and I had foundation of going to church for decades and decades and most of my life, and that helped me to form the opinions that I have now. So I support my children in their beliefs, and it's going to allow them to grow. I don't even impose. I help and I advise, but I don't force. So I escort my child to church, but it is, I don't subscribe to religion.
Yeah. I just hope that...
I believe, like you said, higher power. I believe we have a creator. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I hope that
I think religion does way too many things for selfish reasons and different agendas.
I hope that people, it doesn't mean I believe this hope. It's just me throwing it out there. I hope that people will come to the realization that like Madi was saying, no matter what you believe in or what God you worship or don't worship, I hope that you will just know that if love is not your foundation, love through acceptance, through nurture, through, if love is not the lens that you look at the world in, then baby, you in the wrong religion, baby, you in the wrong mind frame, baby, you in the wrong everything. Definitely. And that's just what it is. And again, when it comes to Trump, and I hate Trump, let me just be real too. On this channel, it's not going to be always as heavy as this. All right, baby. But because this is our intro video, we need to talk about the things. And we said we was going to talk about the things. But after this, we'll try to condense. We'll try to have lighter, talking points. We'll talk about some things that are just in pop culture. Please let us know below what you would like to also hear.
And what I would like to say,
our topics,
is I'm speaking from me and my experiences.
Yeah.
So don't come saying, oh, well, that's not right because it's politically correct. I'm not politically correct.
Me either.
I'm not a politician.
I try to be, bitch.
I'm not a politician.
Right.
I'm not teaching your children. I'm not doing anything of that. So my thoughts are my thoughts, and I said what I said.
I want to teach your children, though, because some of y'all don't need to be parents. But that's a whole nother video, too.
That's another. But whatever it is that I said what I said.
Period.
No one can change my experiences and what I've been through in my decades here on this earth.
And nobody should want to. Nobody should want to, right? Because what she believes in and what she decides to share with you guys, it's not affecting you.
I'm sharing.
It ain't got nothing to do with you, and it's not affecting you.
Another point of view.
Right.
You can agree with it, or you don't have to agree with it.
Right.
I'm not forcing it on you.
Or you can just store it in your brain and in your heart and just be like, hey, there's different people in the world.
It can be
period.
It can be a dialogue. What this is meant to be is to share different thoughts, points of views. For people of like minds, we can gather, get together, offer support. And for those of not like minds, it can be a healthy discussion and dialogue.
Yes.
No disrespect.
No.
And I said what I said.
Period. And I agree. No notes. All right, so let's move away from that. Let's talk about what are our expectations now that Trump is in the office. Because let's just be real here. He's going to be our 47th president, right? 47? 47? Yeah. So, because he was 45 and 16. So, he's going to be our next president. So, what are our expectations? Now, I'll start off by just saying, I think my number one is expecting Trump to be, and I touched on this earlier, to be everybody's president. Everyone's president is whom or who? Girl, I don't know. But it's what he should aspire to be. Because regardless of me not voting for him or you not voting for him, or even if you did vote for him and you voted for certain reasons, but then you find out later that he's not doing what you thought what he was going to do, he still has to speak to all of us in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying he gonna, but I'm saying I would like. That's my expectation, to try to stay hopeful. What about you?
I don't have positive thoughts, and it's not because based on assumption. Just like I said, I said what I said. Yeah. He said what he said. So going on what he has said, I don't have positive assumptions on or expectations on what he's going to do, based on his first term and things that he's already said. I don't have positive expectations. I expect him to take office with a vengeance, with a vendetta, just going on and talking like he normally does, and just pushing that red button and just...
Not the red button, bitch.
Because he
Wow. But
just wasn't ever qualified.
Look, I can understand that sentiment. I really could. That sentiment
because that's what he said.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a political science major. Right. I'm not a political science major.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And we don't have to be.
I'm not.
We still have to vote.
Projecting. Right.
Right.
I'm not
so we got to be informed.
Projecting this. I'm going based off of what he says and how he conducts himself.
Girl, what you gonna do? That's
And-
what you said. That's what you had said, Craig. Craig, that's what you said. Like, what do you want us to do? So
Yeah.
speaking of that, because you made a good point, I want to just kind of quiet the noise with this
It's gonna
because
be mass deportation. That's what he
I
said.
know, I
That's what
know.
he said. He's gonna go in there and do that.
I know.
That's what it's women, you better look. It's
shape up, kiss the ring. But anyway, look. So is it possible? And that is that
It is possible.
Donald Trump is kind of floating the idea, well, if you guys love me that much this term, I might have a third.
yeah.
Wait, what? Wait. Girl, what?
So the thing with Trump is he's a bully. So the fact that now the House and the Senate are Republican, I don't know if he's just going to bully everybody to go, because even I don't assume that every Republican thinks or shares his thoughts. Like I said, I know plenty of Republicans. I have Republican friends, and we have very riveting, spirited conversations.
Period.
So I understand, and they have very good intentions, and I get it, and I understand. So I'm hoping that people still keep our system as a democracy and protect the system that we have in place. However, he is a bully, and when he threatens your livelihood and your seats and your job, sometimes people tend to just go along with what he says. So so it is a possibility. It is a like I said, he said it himself. He
That's
said,
scary.
just, you don't have to worry about voting again.
Yeah, that too. When I go to most recent, he definitely said that. Hey, Christians, you don't gotta vote anymore. Like, he definitely said that. What you mean, Trump? What you trying to say? So the other thing is, my expectation would be, I want Trump to truly fix immigration, or at least appoint people. And I think he has in his cabinet. You guys know the most recent pick for immigration. I'll pull it up here just to show you guys his face and also a little bit about him. And you can pause to read that. But I'm expecting him and his team to really fix immigration, since he ran very, very aggressively on it. Let's be real.
I don't think he will, though. And I say that
Because they want to run on it. That's why.
I say that because he's not the first president to make that his platform, and no one's been able to do it before. Like,
But
that's
why?
a very difficult thing to do, because we are the land of immigration. We are the land of immigrants. Like, we're not saying, hey, kick everybody out.
Right.
We're just saying the way our economy is right now.
Right.
We
can't let everybody in.
We can't let everybody
Right.
in. And I understand that. However, I think our economy, the issue with our economy is not because of immigrants. I agree there's an immigration problem.
For sure.
I believe we cannot just let everybody in. I 100%.
1,000%.
Yes,
Yeah.
agree with that. However, that's not going to fix our economy, because they're not a drain on our economy. They do work, they do go to school, they do contribute, they pay taxes.
I'm about to say, if they're
So,
working, they're definitely
yes.
paying taxes.
Yes, not everyone, you hear the word immigrant, and that's something that a lot of politicians have spewed this rhetoric over the decades, that when you think immigrant, you just think because you're undocumented and you're illegal that you're just a drain on the economy.
So it sounds like you don't think his team is not going to fix it.
I think they're going to
Do something.
give it that great old college try, but
By deportations.
that part.
And then what? Are they going to realize that wasn't the only issue?
So did they ever find them kids?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, anyway, that part. Let's move on. So, because that's all the expectations I have, to be quite honest with you. But
I think they're definitely going to tackle that. They're going to, I believe, and I'm hoping, what I am hoping
it just won't be in its totality.
is that what I am hoping is that at least we learned enough from his first term
Okay.
that his peoples are going to do more at reining him in and keeping it to the point. Like, okay, yes, we
That
do
one
have
lady,
to,
the
we do have
older
to
one,
address this, but let's do it the right way and not separate kids from parents like we did the first time around.
I do believe
hoping, that's what I'm hoping.
I do believe that there might be one or two people in there that could do that.
Right.
Whether or not he'll fire them after they do that is another problem. That's a whole other story,
that's
baby.
What I mean about being a
but
baby. Like,
at least if they're there to do that very thing and be like, "Oh, pump your brakes. Let's talk about it." I guess that's the best we can hope for. That's really sad.
And
I'm sorry.
That's what I mean by it's not that I am against Republicans. It's that, like you said, I would love to consider myself independent if there was enough of us.
And we do have some conservative values.
Yes,
even though they've long passed the original conservative values.
Trump is not Republican or Democrat. Trump is he's an island of himself.
Trump.
So I'm hoping that the other Republicans, because he doesn't, basically what I'm saying is he doesn't have respect for our nation.
No.
He is an island of himself. So I'm hoping that
you can't have respect and then run on preemptively saying everything's a lie that you don't like about you, preemptively saying if I don't win, they cheated, preemptively going over and saying that anyone who disagrees with him is basically conspiracy, whatever, left and all this stuff. Yeah, you can't like the country that much, honey. You can't.
So I'm hoping his administration just keeps it to the point and keeps it political and just does what's best for our nation.
I love that for you.
We're not always going to...
I love that for you. You have that hope, baby.
You say unicorns are real.
I know. You're right. And they can be in our minds.
That's my unicorn.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm hoping, because that's all I got right now.
Okay.
That's all I got, because if they are not respecting our nation and trying to do what's best for its people, now I'm not saying what they think is best is actually what we think is best.
Yeah.
But as long as that's still our
they're in
goal,
power, baby, so we gotta be realistic here.
As long as that's still what our goal is, regardless of what side, I can respect that. I can respect that, and I can.
Period. We can work with that.
Yes.
We can work with that.
Yes.
We may not want to work with that. We might be reluctant.
I may not like it, but I can. Yeah.
But we're gonna work with
what
that.
it is.
Yeah. All right. So let's begin to wrap this up, right? So the last point I wanted to hit on these heavy initial topics of the state of our world right now, our world, as if the U.S. is the only thing in the world. The U.S., sorry, because I'm not one of those people, honey. We are not the only people in the mother effing world. Anyway, right now, I believe right now is not the time to come together with people that voted for Trump, and why it's time to get prepared for what's to come. Nope. Is because I know you might not share. You might not share the whole thing, especially because you just talked about having that hope with the Republicans in power right now. But I feel like it's not the time for your mama, sister, TT, cousins. Right, you're right. It's not time to break bread. It's not the reason why I say that and why I feel that way is because we already know the excuses for why people voted for Trump. We even talked about it here just now. But we need to give resources to people who are being targeted.
I agree.
Whether through rhetoric or policy, because the truth is, the truth really is, y'all, that marginalized groups of people, not just LGBTQ+, but let's talk about it, whatever, marginalized groups are already being attacked and have already been attacked. Y'all forget all the stuff that Florida was saying, that Texas then adopted, and then all these other states started to do. So, and this was before they did the abortion back to the states. So I don't think we need to be, like you said, holding hands, kumbaya, right?
No.
We need to, it's time for us to live as best as we can under this regime and help others and keep fact checking.
At the end of the day, if you ignored what he said about me and mines, if you ignored like I said, the first term and all of that stuff, then you're not for me. So I have no choice but to have hope for the people already in office. I didn't vote for them. I have no choice but I do have a choice in what I allow in my immediate. No, I'm not holding your hand. No, we're not speaking. Because like I said, this was not about politics. It was never, he didn't make it about politics. So if you supported him, it was not about politics.
No.
You didn't, because like I already said, he said the economy, but he didn't prove that. So whatever reason you want to give, that has nothing to do with me.
Miss me,
my
baby.
friends, and don't say we can, agree to disagree. That's for strangers. My friends, your family and friends. Well, family you don't choose, but your friends are the people who have the same of like minds. Birds of a feather flock together. Your friends are the people who hold the same moral values. So that doesn't the things he ran on and the things he spoke of that you will ignore and okay does not speak to my spirit. So that we wouldn't be friends, and I'm okay with that.
I feel that we have to be realistic about the outcome. And the last thing I want to say about that is, if y'all can believe, y'all who voted for him, if y'all voted for him and can believe what he says, oh, he gonna do this for the economy, oh, he gonna do this for the price of eggs, oh, he gonna lower gas prices, oh, he gonna do this. If y'all can believe all of that, then why can't I believe the negative things that he's saying about me and my people?
Like I said, he said what he said.
What's the double standard?
We're not making things
right.
up. This is what he has said. He said what he said, and he did what he did.
He's our president. So we're gonna live with it. But it don't mean that we just lay down and let it be to where we are tuning out.
You didn't.
Because we can't. We can't tune out, y'all. We cannot tune out. We have to pay more attention now than we did in the last 4 years because of who's in office. Whether you believe it or not, even if you voted for him, you're talking about if you really do care about the price of eggs, honey, then you really need to be on his ass. You really need to be on that ass. All right, Trump, you've been in 100 days. Like, come I want to hear y'all next year after 100 days be like, all right, Trump.
So like you said,
what happened?
Depending on what he's going to do and what changes, if it poses problems, if it poses stress, if it poses things that makes it hard for your daily activities and your daily living, we hope to have resources and help for that. So if you work for community organizations, if you work for government organizations, if you know of resources, please hit us up and send that to us so we can have a platform for that for people who are in need. Because this is not just for us to, vent. This, like she said, this is our very first episode. So we had a lot of things to get off of our chest, but the main goal is, as we navigate through this journey, how are we going to navigate through this journey, and how can we be of support to each other?
And we're already going to have resources down below. I just want you may or may not know that, but I'm already going to make sure that we have universal resources down below for not only women who are scared about their own physical autonomy, not just for the LGBTQ plus community who need resources to name change, start their transition, and so forth. And not just for resources about organizations you can donate that help with, prison reform or something like that. I'm going to have a list of things. And that list, as Monty was saying, we're going to grow that list. And it'll all be in the description box. And I hope that you guys will look, actually click, read, do your own research as well, and just stay informed. Do not, I hate to even say this, stay woke. Stay woke. Okay?
That was my jam.
Don't sleep. This is not the time to sleep. And that's all I got to say.
It's not. It's not. We said what we said.
All right, y'all. Well, look, this was a good first episode. I'm not going to hold you. This was good. We talked about the things, honey. And like I said, not every episode is going to be heavy, right?
Yeah.
Politics are heavy for many obvious reasons. And we're not always going to agree or see eye to eye. But what we will always agree and see eye to eye on is that, again, we are not ever saying things that are going to not be good for the majority of us. Nothing we say is going to be negatively impactful or punch down on anybody, any one person, any group. The things that we want to bring forward here, whether it's opinion or fact-based, we want it to be good for all of us, at least the vast majority of us.
The truth isn't always pretty,
That's
but it's the truth.
true.
It's the truth. The things that we said you may not like, you don't have to agree with it, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's happening to someone, and if it's happening to one, that makes it true.
Period. So look, we will see you guys on the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed your time. I hope you ain't too drunk if you got an alcoholic beverage and you of age. Because, honey, I was sipping. You got to get your mermaid chalice.
I do.
Bring it next time.
Okay.
All right, honey. Well, we will catch y'all on the next video. We love you guys for watching.
Sigue viviendo su vida. Bye.